I come to the floor today to talk about the need for more American energy. Look, Joe Biden's policies, they're destructive to our nation, and that's because he continues to put liberal priorities first and America last. So last week, the Biden administration agreed to ease oil sanctions on Nicolas Maduro's brutal socialist regime in Venezuela. Let's be clear. I want to be clear about what's going on here. Venezuela gets to produce more oil. President Biden's putting Venezuelan oil production ahead of American oil production. He's prioritizing Venezuelan energy workers over Wyoming and American energy workers. Look, our energy workers at home are rightly asking, when is Joe Biden going to ease the sanctions that he has put on American energy production? Because since day one, American oil, American natural gas, American coal producers have been in the president's crosshairs. He refuses to change course, even when gas prices skyrocketed. Well, Biden certainly has never encouraged more American production like he has around the world in Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, even Russia at one point. Instead, Joe Biden has raided the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and he did it to deflect blame for high energy costs at the gas pump. That was in the run-up to the midterm elections. So he used our energy stockpile emergency supply for his own political gain, and it is disgraceful. America's energy reserve is now 45% lower than it was when Joe Biden entered office, much lower than it was when he was vice president. Our emergency supply is actually at a 40-year low in terms of the energy supply we need for emergencies. So the Hamas terrorist attack against Israel, there's more uncertainty in global oil production, and our own stockpiles here at home are dangerously low, and this could be the time when we need it the most. So last week, the administration came to the conclusion, well, maybe we ought to try to fill it up again. So he's announced a purchase of 6 million barrels of oil to help replenish our emergency supply. $6 million is a drop in the 6 million barrels is a drop in the bucket compared to the 290 million barrels that the president has already drained. The President administration, the plan is too little, too late, and it comes at too high of a price. President Biden's offering 79 cents a barrel for these 6 million barrels of oil to help start to replenish the emergency reserve. Well, the price of oil now is $90 a barrel. So Joe Biden's going once again on bended knees to dictators, begging them to produce more oil and sell it to the United States. Maybe he believes this begging will lower oil prices and increase his abysmal approval ratings. But turning to dictators is not a way to govern, and it's not a way to focus on America's national interests. Joe Biden continues to turn his back on America's workers, on American families, and once again he's putting liberal politics first and American energy workers and the American public last. Maduro isn't Joe Biden's first date with a dictator. Oh, no. He's been coddling dictators, and he's making it a habit. Tried to placate Vladimir Putin by choosing not to impose sanctions on Russia's Nord Stream 2 pipeline to Germany. What the president got in return for his appeasement was more Russian aggression and Russia attacking Ukraine. While the president was draining our strategic emergency oil reserves, he was looking for ways that the Ayatollah in Iran could sell more oil. It's astonishing. He foolishly refused to enforce maximum pressure sanctions against Iranian oil, and this refusal allowed Iran to line its pockets with $80 billion from selling oil exports. Wonder what they could have used that money for. Well, let's look. The president continues to kiss up to Iran. He cut a deal to send $6 billion in sanctioned funds to Iran. In return, Iran was able to expand its support and financing of terrorist groups like Hamas. Today, the world is witnessing the devastation and the violence inflicted by Iranian-backed and funded terrorism. Hamas's unprovoked attack against Israel killed thousands of civilians, including children, with at least 33 Americans dead, more missing. President Biden has not learned from his mistakes because he continues to repeat the mistakes over and over again. This appeasement by Joe Biden will not work. Didn't work with Russia, didn't work with Iran, not going to work with Venezuela. But President Biden refused to do what we know will work. Will work here at home, and that's unleash American energy. The President's administration has used every trick in the book to smother American production of oil, gas, and coal. It's had an extreme negative impact on families all across America and on our nation's economy. Look, before the COVID pandemic, the Energy Information Administration, they forecasted that here in America we would produce about 14 million barrels every day this year, 14 million barrels of oil a day. Through June of this year, due to Joe Biden's attacks on American production, production is running way, way behind what was anticipated and what we need as a nation. As a result, we are turning to countries for the 1.4 million barrels a day that we need additionally. We're way behind. And it's not just energy. This president continues to outsource not just our supply of oil and gas, but our mineral supply, critical minerals that we need here in the United States. The Democrats' reckless tax and spending bill just accelerates that. Look, last week I issued a report proving how the Democrats' reckless tax and spending bill moves the United States away from energy independence to energy and mineral dependence. An energy transition dependent on China, Russia, Iran, Venezuela, the tyrants and the terrorists there is not what our nation needs, but it's what Joe Biden has brought upon us. Yep, it's what he caused. America should never have to beg for energy, for minerals, from anybody, let alone from dictators. Our energy policy should enrich American people. The American economy should be strengthened by it. Instead, Joe Biden's policies, dictated by the liberal left, are enriching our enemies. America's energy policy must always put affordable, reliable American energy first. We must put America first. We must unleash American energy. That is the solution to help build our economy, build our country. Thank you, Madam President. I yield the floor.